Hello, Ali.
Hello.
Nice clothes.
Thank you.
Yes.
A summer dress for a
Yes.
sunny day.
Today's topic is dating. So you married with Japanese husband, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So most of the audience are curious about your marriage and dating with Japanese. Yeah.
Okay.
At first, did you struggle with dating Japanese guy?
To be honest, when I came to Japan, I thought that I would only come for 7 months. So I wasn't really thinking about a long-term relationship. But as time went on, I realized that I would be in Japan for a longer period of time. And I didn't really have a plan. But of course, I ended up meeting people in various ways, often through friends. And I just found that perhaps it wasn't, I think dating is not so much about dating, like a Spanish person or an English person or a Japanese person. It's more about the person themselves. So yeah, I dated throughout my 6 years, and yeah, now I'm happily married. I just didn't expect to be here for so long, and I came here for more of a spiritual reason, more about finding myself than like finding a husband. But I think because I was just going with the flow of my life, it just happened that I met a really special person. And I think, beyond, boyfriend, girlfriend or marital relationships, I also just met some really interesting people as friends as well from all walks of life. And just from my perspective, but in Japan, there's a certain type of person who needs to see something like beyond their everyday existence. And so they come to Japan, and I'd say like the majority of foreigners who come to Japan just want to explore something outside of their comfort zone. And so it's a really nice way to connect with people even from my own country,
I think you dated with other countries' people before coming to Japan.
Yeah.
Are there any differences between Japanese and other countries' people?
So I've talked to some Japanese ladies about this, and they don't necessarily agree. But I would say that Japanese men and even like foreigners who live in Japan, they have a certain manner and are very, very polite. And I would say that men in Japan, or Japanese men, are much more, how shall I put this, considerate of taking time and not pressuring the woman. So yeah, I feel like men in Japan are much more gentlemanly, and that helps me personally to feel very relaxed with this person. And for me, I really like spending time with the person and getting to know the person rather than rushing into doing anything too quickly. And I felt like many experiences in Japan, I was able to take time and enjoy getting to know the person before rushing into anything.
I think you have a long relationship with your husband. So do you do any effort to maintain a good relationship with him?
To be honest, we haven't been married for such a long time. We've only been married for about 1.5 years. But we met just before Corona and decided to isolate together. And I think, at this time, living together in a relatively new relationship, without being able to go overseas or see my family or have a social life, we got to know each other very, very quickly. And most people that I know have a relationship for a certain period of time, and then they decide to get married. Whereas for us, it was kind of the opposite. It was like, should we get married? Okay. And we did. And then it was like, okay, now let's work at this. And I would say that, I think a lot of people kind of think, all right, now we're married, and forget about making the effort. But I think it's not so much about okay, I have to work really hard for this relationship. It's more appreciating the other person and learning like about yourself with another person. It's not about you anymore, and it's not about them. It's about you together. It's about your relationship. It's like a third person, if you like, in this dynamic.
Where did you hang out when you date with guys?
So generally restaurants. So just in regards to my husband, we started dating and we would go to restaurants. We would have dinner usually, or lunches. And after a certain period of time, he invited me to Hakone. This is an aspect that I love about Japanese culture, is the ryokan experience. And we relaxed with some nice food and onsen. And in the daytime, we would hike because we both really love nature. And it was just nice, like to walk and talk and be in nature and maybe be silent for a little while. And it made me feel so comfortable, I think, just being in that serenity, in that calm environment. I recommend if anyone is looking to date with, you know, Japanese or non-Japanese, going like for a walk or for a hike is such a nice activity, because it's not just like you and the other person and this sort of like, what are we going to talk about? It's more, you know, you're in nature, you don't have to keep talking, and I think it's really healthy, you know.
Yeah, both can enjoy the
Yeah,
activity.
exactly.
Yeah. Does he speak English fluently?
He speaks excellent English, yes.
Okay. So does he teach you Japanese language?
He does, yes. I often have questions that I come to him with at the end of the day, like, what does this mean? But yeah, he's very helpful and very supportive. And we are doing 1 day a week of Japanese.
Oh, good.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
It's so helpful. But definitely things like understand, like okaeri, tadaima, you know, this kind of thing where there is no English translation, or at least it's not like a set phrase in English. That's really helpful because it's kind of automatic for me now.
Before the marriage, how often did you date or contact, like talking on the phone or sending messages?
Well, I think I'm not really someone who's like, I try to play cool and like read it and leave it kind of thing. I'm not like that, and I think he's not like that. We're both kind of people who are like, I like you and I want to spend time with you. Do you want to spend time with me? Yeah, cool. You know, there wasn't any games, and that I think was very refreshing, because, you know, there have been previous instances, especially in the UK, of game playing, and I don't really have time for that. So I think we met pretty frequently, and, you know, our relationship was a lot faster than many relationships that I hear of. So I'm not sure, actually, like whenever we wanted to be honest. Yeah, I'm not a big phone girl. I hate phone calls, actually. And similarly, texting, like our text exchanges aren't so frequent, but of course, you know, to arrange meeting up and stuff, we would text or use Line. But, you know, nowadays we live together, you know, the conversation on text isn't so frequent, yeah.
Some of my audience want to make foreign friends or foreign partners. So do you have any advice for such Japanese people?
I think Japanese generally are very patient, and something I've noticed among many Japanese people that I've met is that even if they feel, you know, like, I don't like that, or that's annoying me, perhaps they don't say it. And there's an awareness that saying it, perhaps like you feel this way, but saying it out loud isn't going to help harmony or the relationship. So it's a point that I really appreciate in the Japanese way, but I do find that many foreigners perhaps don't have this. You know, we are taught to be individualistic and to express how we feel and to show emotion and to maybe, you know, sometimes say things that we didn't even need to say, which might feel strange for Japanese, because I think the majority of Japanese like to keep the harmony. you know. So I would say my advice would be just remember that many foreigners are encouraged throughout our upbringing to have a voice and say what we think, and it can be annoying, I think, for Japanese people. You know, you think, oh, why are they making this point? And, you know, why would you say that? It only disrupts the harmony. But yeah, I think patience is the answer to a lot of relationship issues. Yeah, and just remember, like, we see the world in a slightly different way. So help us to see it through your eyes, and maybe like be open-minded to listen to how we see it. And I think then, you know, you cannot change another person. They will see this, and you might see this. But if you can like be open-minded and patient with each other, you can kind of like, there's a middle bit, you know, where it interlinks. And again, this is kind of that third entity, this relationship. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's a deep answer.
It's a deep answer, but I think,
thought,
yeah, I think in relationships, you have to be ready to find, to kind of like face yourself and face, you know, you're not perfect and you are annoying probably, like everyone's annoying. And you are so exposed in a relationship, you have to kind of be ready to be vulnerable. And I think, yeah, once we can just let that go, yeah, the relationship can grow into an extra dimension.
Yeah, right. There are no perfect people.
Certainly not.
Okay, so thank you for your great stories.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it is very helpful for the audience.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, so you are doing your YouTube channel
Yes, I am.
and Instagram.
Yes, and Instagram.
Yeah, so please watch her YouTube and Instagram.
Thank you. And also please watch YASU, who will be joining me on my British English channel.
Yeah, we will shoot the video
We will.
later. Yeah. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.
See you then. Bye.